Buying Fiverr Backlinks? Do these $5 link packages actually boost rankings? Somebody asked this on the search engine optimization subreddit. We're going to answer that on today's episode of the podcast. I've always been curious of that myself. I've never done it. I've never done it because I'm like, I feel like if I do it, it could hurt my site. It could hurt my SEO. It could be really bad. So I'm not going to do that. But I have been curious. And so the comments reveal whether or not my intuition was correct. So first I'm going to share those comments. Then I'm going to share a discussion from another thread on the search engine optimization subreddit about link building. How easy is it actually? What should I focus on? And then after that, I'm going to share my philosophy on link building and getting backlinks for SEO. This is episode 577 of my daily digital marketing podcast. Let's go. Buying Fiverr backlinks. Do these $5 link packages actually boost your rankings? Top comment. And I'm actually just going to read all the comments here. There's about 10 of them. It's pretty short. So here's the top comment. Here's what it says. Don't do it. By buying those links, you only increase your spam score, which will affect your rankings in general. Look for actually good freelancers. Those are hard to find though. Don't be afraid to spend money on good links. Quality is always better than quantity. Second comment. You're gonna get effed by Google. Don't do it, dude. Same shit as buying followers on social media. By the way, buying followers on social media, I've tried it for other accounts other than my main accounts. Doesn't work. Not good. And if you do it on a main account, it's going to mess up your algorithm. Also, very often you'll buy these fake followers and then they'll get removed. I would completely not recommend buying fake followers on social media unless you are just trying to short-term trick people to, I don't know, get investment or something, make them think you're hot stuff. But a lot of people can tell nowadays buying followers on social media. Would not recommend it. Comment number 3. Why would I want to spray weed killer on my vegetable garden? I really like that one. Comment number 4. Absolutely don't do it. Happy to help if you need links, but whatever you do, avoid the Fiverr links. Comment number 5. Bad idea. Number 6. It will give you a good lesson in the Google disavow tool. Nothing ever came of it. Only headache. Comment number 8. If you're my competitor, then yes, buy them up. If you're not, then run like the plague. Number 9, haha, no. Number 10, no. Number 11, I can tell they are harmful. Often come from spam posting on hacked websites. Number 12, nope. Odds are you will get a link offer for 90 domain authority. That domain authority will, however, come from zero traffic website, which means nothing for you. I'm losing count of how many comments we're on now. Next one, no, they won't. Next one, no. Next one, don't do it. Next one, except they give you a list before they implement the backlinks. Otherwise, better not to. So this person is actually saying if you can choose and you can evaluate, maybe then. But let's keep going. What do other people say? Totally wastage. It will harm your website reputation. Another comment, this is going to backfire and harm your website's ranking. Next one, no. Next one, yes, it will increase your spam score and also you can lose your ranking. Next one, I tried this once. This guy's like, I tried this once. I tried this once for a low ranking page and it gets you, here it goes, it gets you absolutely nowhere. Don't, ellipsis, just don't. Just don't. Next comment, no. Next comment, they are good for tier 3 links, which you don't care about. Next comment, nope, most are spammy backlinks with no real value. We're nearing the end now. Next comment, never do that. Not a good strategy for building backlinks. Another person, it will boost your chance for a Google penalty. Another person, easy answer, no. Spam links and low quality links will only get you penalized by Google. Second to last one, avoid these packages at all costs. These tend to be low quality, spammy backlinks that will punish your rankings in the long term. And the last comment, on a new site, it will sink it. It will sink your new site. On an aged site with plenty of domain authority, it should have little to no effect. So there is your answer to buying Fiverr backlinks. Do these $5 link packages actually boost rankings? So let's move on to a new thread now. This is called link building. How easy is it actually? What should I focus on? This is a long thread, but basically it's a newcomer who wants to get 5+ backlinks in Q1 this year to his fintech startup. Honestly, that's so easy. And I'm just going to read some of the comments here that I thought were okay. I think most of these comments are pretty trash. There's 43 comments. So I'm really going to read like a small handful of comments because then I want to get to my philosophy and what I believe in. This is the Edward show after all. So I want to share what Edward believes in about link building. If you don't know, backlinks, that's what boosts your trust rating in Google. It allows you to rank for more competitive keywords. This trust rating, Moz calls it domain authority. Ahrefs calls it domain rating. There are so many different scores for measuring this. I like domain authority. I use that all the time. But the higher your score, it's a 0 to 100 score. The higher your score, the more able you are to rank for competitive keywords. If a keyword isn't competitive and it's in your niche, you don't really need very high domain authority to rank for it. You need under 10 domain authority to rank for a keyword that's not competitive that's in your niche. Very easy, and you can get under 10 domain authority really fast. You can use, I recommend this tool all the time, boostbenchmark.com. It just submits your site to top relevant directories. It gives you a list of sites to submit to. You can pay extra to submit to these sites, to have them submit to these sites for you. But that will get you to 20 domain authority, 20 out of 100. And that's cheap. Or you can do what I'm going to describe in the next part of this podcast. But let's go to these comments first. So the number one comment for link building, how easy it is it actually? What should I focus on? The number one comment is buy your first link from your local chamber of commerce. Somebody said, I see prices usually around $300 annually to join a city chamber of commerce. And it looks like it just adds me to a small business member directory. Is this generally what you see as well? Someone said they're almost always do follow links, usually have traffic, and they're effective for relevancy proximity. It's a great tip because backlinks are so much more valuable if people actually click the link. If people click on a backlink, that is so much more valuable than if somebody doesn't. And the consensus among SEOs, and this is what I believe, is that do follow, no follow, if it passes link juice or not, it doesn't really matter all the time. It depends on where the link is. It depends on how many clicks the link is getting. If it's a no-follow backlink that is not getting clicks, that's not really that good for you. If it's a no-follow backlink that is getting clicks, it's still great for you. If it's a do-follow backlink that is getting clicks, that's excellent for you. But I like that Chamber of Commerce tip. I thought that was unique. Another comment, this person said, link building is the most boring thing a person can do. I actually very much disagree with that. This guy continues, every SEO should start their SEO journey by doing link building. There are many strategies. I started with 100 emails a day, cold emails, reaching out to potential publishers over social media, phone, LinkedIn, etc. It's the most rewarding thing out there. So this guy is literally trying to get backlinks for free, just being like, hey, I think you should include my link in your post. And then somebody actually posted about that, about trying to get backlinks for free. Specifically through the reach out method, trying to get backlinks for free, reaching out to bloggers and journalists, etc. So this person said SEO is very easy except for the link building part. If you're not sleeping with a journalist or have family in journalism, then it's going to be hard. You will have to buy links or guest posts. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes. If you're young, find yourself a journalist's wife, target one that has ins with multiple massive blogs and news websites. People say send outreach emails and build relationships with other bloggers. Well, that takes time. It could take 6 months of relationship building with one blogger to finally get a backlink. You can send 1,000 outreach emails and maybe score one mediocre backlink. The rest will all be considered spam. I do actually personally think sending outreach emails trying to get a link is just generally a huge waste of time. It didn't used to be as much of a waste of time. Right now, it is a tremendous waste of time and will continue to be more of a waste of time in the future. This is the last comment from this post that I'm going to read. And this person said, natural links come usually after you rank and if you have really well done linkable assets like calculators, converters, tutorials, etc. Something innovative. I just wanted to pronounce innovative. Otherwise, it's paid to play, either with money or with your time. Direct outreach, everything's either with that. Direct outreach for GPS link inserts, 99% of the time, you got to shell out some money to get it done. Journalist outreach, digital PR needs your time. And to get some decent mentions, you have to shell out some money for Quoted, Mutrack, Roxhill, etc. Quoted is so cheap. Featured is so cheap. Source of sources is free. So that one's wrong. Setting up Private PBNs costs a lot of money. I also just don't recommend that. Using aged domains for link equity costs even more money. Link swaps pay with diluting link equity, so this is not good. And the guy ends this by saying, it is what it is. Just gotta play the game. And most of the links you can get for free, well, they mostly are not really impactful. That's if you're doing the outreach thing. There are so many more comments to this. The link for both of these threads will be listed in the description for this episode. How does Edward feel about building backlinks? How do I feel about building links? First of all, just some easy ways to build links that are pretty inexpensive. I love directories. Submit your website or your product or your pages to as many relevant directories as possible, and there are directories for everything. I shared about how I got my newsletter to rank #1 for growth hacking newsletter by just submitting it to a bunch of newsletter directories with language around growth hacking newsletter. I literally rank above Sean Ellis, who invented the term growth hacking. He has a website. It's called growthhackers.com or something like that, or growthhackers.io, and then it's /newsletter. My newsletter ranks above that because I submitted it to newsletter directories for free with language around growth hacking newsletter. There's, like I said, directories for everything. Then I love launch platforms. Product Hunt, Beta List. Usually these are pretty cheap. Product Hunt, I think, is free. Beta List, I think, is $150 for a launch, but you can do multiple launches on Beta List. I've been meaning to launch compact keywords on my shirt on Beta List, but there's so many things I'm doing. But it's a great place to launch to. Product Hunt as well. Great place to launch to. And when you launch on these, people click on your site. And for me, I've had it where bloggers see my products and then share my products in their blogs. And I've had that happen multiple times. It's been super, super valuable for me. I really can't even say how much, it's made me so much money just having these small niche blogs that are actually active who found my products and they're like, oh, these are cool. We're going to recommend these in our blogs. And that's happened to me so many times from launching on Beta List and Product Hunt. Or you get shared on social. There's lots of good things to launching on launch platforms. So find a launch platform that's in your niche and launch to it. It's not just about getting the link from the launch platform, which matters more. By the way, they're all no follow, but they matter more if they're actually getting clicks. But it's about people who will see it, and then you get an organic share, which is way better. You get people organically linking to you, way better. That brings us to the next part, which is just my philosophy. And by the way, why are you building backlinks in the first place? You shouldn't be trying to do a top of funnel content site. You shouldn't be trying to make a huge site about articles trying to rank. That's just way too hard now because those clicks are going to Reddit, to Quora, to YouTube. People are doing their searches with AI now. Big waste of time trying to target keywords like how, what, why, where. You should be targeting purchase intent keywords. That's what Compact Keywords is about. The SEO program that I just came out with, compactkeywords.com. But you're building links if you have a product. And if you have a product, there's going to be all of these relevant blogs or relevant places that will share you just because you have a product, you have something to offer. So the next part is just my general philosophy. Build links through building a brand. What does that mean? That means that you actually build a brand that people know about, people start to care about. And the more people care about your brand, the more you get shared. This podcast, the homepage for this podcast is edwardsturm.com/The Edward Show. I actually don't think I did any link building for this podcast, but just naturally over time, people share the podcast homepage. So it's naturally gotten links just by being a product. Products get links. Building a brand gets links. As you go out there and do awareness building, people share you. A method that I really like, I call it meetup acquisitions. Basically, you acquire a meetup from meetup.com. You can just get this for free by joining meetup.com. You have to have a paid membership, which I think is $175 a year. You join a bunch of meetups. Within months, an organizer of one of your meetups will step down. You get invited to take over that meetup just because you're part of it. You take it over, and then you do this yourself, or you have a virtual assistant do this. And you have all these existing members from the meetup that you just took over. And you're like, hey, I want to co-host meetups with you and send my members to your meetup. And you do this with a bunch of people who actually have meetups. And they're going to say yes because they want more people to come to their meetups. The organizers of these events are going to be like, yeah, sure, you can co-host with me. And I'm not even going to ask you for money because you're sending me members. I just want more people to come. And then you say, okay, can you include a marketing blurb about me on the Meetup event page? Sometimes these Meetup event pages also have websites. They appear on separate websites, but then they also go out in emails. And either way, people are clicking on your links. You're building awareness like that. And when it appears on a website, you're going to get links like that. You're building a brand too. I love that one. That one's talked about in depth in compact keywords. Or another one, and I mentioned this before, source of sources, featured, quoted. These ones aren't directly about building a brand, but there's a way to actually use them to build a brand and make the links that you get more valuable. So what these websites are, source of sources, it's an alternative to Haro, to help a reporter out, which is dead now. Featured.com, which is really good for getting links. Quoted, these are platforms where journalists are looking for experts to quote because they need expert sources in their articles. It's that simple. You're a journalist, you're writing an article, you need an expert in your article, you want to quote that expert. You post to one of these places, source of sources is free, and it is the best. And you as a journalist say, okay, I'm looking for an expert in accounting to explain what to do at the end of the year. Something like that. Accountants submit their answers. The best answers get links. But then what you do, and this is what nobody knows to do, then what you do is you cross-promote. You share on LinkedIn. Oh, I just appeared in this publication. You share on Instagram. I just appeared in this publication. And then you link to the article that you appeared in. And then people go to that and then they click, they see what you wrote, and then they also click your link just to see out of curiosity. And that happens all the time. So now you're building a brand while also building backlinks, because it's increasing your authority, your personal brand authority, by sharing on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever that you're being mentioned in all of these publications. You're social proofing yourself while you're doing link building. Linkable assets, that was talked about in one of the threads. That's where you make something so interesting, so cool, so useful that people share it. The Edward Show is an example of a linkable asset. It lives on edwardsturm.com and people link to it. My newsletter is another one. People start sharing my newsletter around. They share the newsletter landing page. It starts with me putting it in directories and people share it. Here's an example not from me. Exploding Topics. They had an article like the 57 most interesting AI statistics for 2024. I think that got 814 domains linking to it, something so crazy like that. And that was a very interesting article with all these interesting AI stats. Or you make a tool. Products naturally are linkable assets. Podcasts. I love going on podcasts to do link building. I am AIPodcastMatcher.com's biggest affiliate. That's actually an affiliate URL. It goes to my affiliate code on Podmatch, but please use AIPodcastMatcher.com. That is AIPodcastMatcher.com. I went on 30 podcasts in 3 months, mainly through it. And the reason, this was in 2022, before I was on TikTok, before I was on Instagram, before I had this podcast. And the reason that I did it was because I'm like, I bet that podcasts are a great place to build backlinks that nobody thinks about. And so I started going, it uses AI to match guests who want to go on podcasts with hosts who want guests. And I started going on lots of podcasts. And every time I went on a podcast, I said, please use this description of me in the episode description and include these links. And that's what they did. And I would go on a show and I would get a backlink. And then I could also share on LinkedIn that I went on this show, or I could share on Instagram that I went on this show. And the hosts of the podcast would also share on Instagram. Oh, I just had Edward Sturm on my show. This is what he did. They would tag me, sorry, not on Instagram, on LinkedIn. They would tag me on LinkedIn where they make this post saying that Edward Sturm came on their show. Then I would reshare and it would increase my brand authority. I love going on podcasts to get backlinks. It's something that so few people think of. You do networking, you meet interesting people, interesting podcast hosts who know other podcast hosts, who recommend you to other podcast hosts, or who recommend you to guests that they have had on. That's happened to me. I've gotten business through going on podcasts because I had an episode with somebody and they're like, oh my God, you got to meet this other person who was on my podcast. I started TikTok and Instagram from going on podcasts because multiple times podcast hosts were like, you were the best guest that I ever had. You need to have your own podcast. But I'm like, well, if I have my own podcast, it's going to be hard to do distribution for that podcast. And so I need a good way to do distribution for it. And people have been telling me to get on TikTok for the past 10 months. So it sounds like maybe I could be in front of the camera. Okay, I'll try this TikTok thing. And then that led to what I have today. And there's so many more strategies where you can build a brand while doing link building. And I think it's a lot more effective than the cold outreach that was recommended or buying backlinks. It's a lot safer. Backlinks matter so much more if people actually click on those links. And that is episode 577. That's all. That is all that I got for you on this episode of The Edwards Show. So we answered, should you buy backlinks from Fiverr? And it was a resounding no. We talked about other methods to doing link building that lots of other people recommended. Linkablasis, that was my favorite. I think the Chamber of Commerce one, that was a really cool recommendation. And then I shared my philosophy on building links, directories, launch platforms, meetup acquisitions, source of sources featured, quoted. Whenever you appear in a publication, share it on socials, podcasts, overall build links through building a brand. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched on YouTube, thank you so much for listening. If you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.